has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast in the biggest way possible. Hanging out the best, eat a rug and eat a bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh. People dressed in plastic bags, directing traffic, some kind of fashion shake it up, along with the Tutty and Tater King, the guru of golf, the mystery man, Carver High this afternoon, ladies. Mafia running it with Luke. I am Ilhada. The rundown on a terrible towel Tuesday. A double shot from Morency this very hour from Vancouver in British Columbia. And Mike DeCourcy, the famed scribe from the Sporting News, Fox Sports, and the Big Ten Network. Plus, in the second hour, the Golden Muzzy, Nick Alberga. From Leafs Morning Take and NHL.com, the Fantasy One podcast, the Golden Muzzy, Carver High. Unbelievable that he's on the show today. I just got home from Pittsburgh less than an hour ago. You heard me. So here's what happened to me. So this moron schedules the trip. Did I tell you Friday, like, he did it wrong? And like, he did it at night. Instead of 9:30 in the morning, he did it at 10:30 at night. And I'm like, bruh, like, I'm not getting in there at midnight. I'm going to miss the hockey game and dinner. So we scramble. We get a flight to Detroit. So we get to the airport on Saturday morning. Flight canceled till noon. I said, noon? She said, you'll miss your connector to Pittsburgh. There's no other connector in Detroit to Pittsburgh. You cannot take that flight. I'm like, I'll rent a car right now, and I'll drive there, and I'll just fly home on my back end. And she said, we're going to have to throw you to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta to Pittsburgh, you'll get in at 4 p.m. And I was like, holy shack. And I was, you should have seen me at the ticket counter. I'm like, oh, Jesus, hey, Christ. And then I said, let's drive. And he said, no way. So I flew to Atlanta. I was in the 37th row next to the toilet. My knees were in my chin. I was complaining the entire time because I was in first class on the other flight. So then I get on a connector to Pittsburgh. I'm in the 35th row with my knees in my chin. I complained the entire way. But this time, I drank the entire way. I was like, keep them coming, honey. And I just kept pounding cocktails. Then, and I don't drink beer. Beer's for college kids. I drank liquor. And I drank all the way to Pittsburgh. And I got to the 5-star restaurant. And I got to the Penguin game. And they won. And I got mugged by fans for pictures and everything else. They had me taking pictures. Then they were taking pictures of me. I couldn't even watch Sid Crosby score his goal, even though I did. Then, on the anniversary of my open heart surgery, I went to the place the Steelers play and watched them for the 8th time in 9 games slap the Ravens 18-16 to take a 2-game lead in the North. And once again, Lamar is 1-4 against the Steelers. The kryptonite was rolled out on the red carpet, and we partied all day and all night long, like the 4 horsemen. Woo! Then I got stuck. I did not get home on Monday. My flight was canceled, and I couldn't get on another flight. So I left today at 10 a.m., and I just got home, and here I sit, ready for another C to C, baby.
I was going to say, at least both teams won. That makes it a little bit easier to deal with all the other outside things that were going on. I did say yesterday, I was like, you're going to be back tomorrow. I said, provided any travel escapades that you could potentially have. And sure enough, I didn't know at the time that you did have travel escapades.
I will say this.
To get yourself home.
I have to give Dave Sharapan credit. once again on the program. Ferrall, we love the program. Would you pass me my poor moles? So Dave Sherapan, I'm staying in a crack hotel when I got there. And I mean, this place was a dump. And there's no hotels. Every room's booked for the Ravens.
This was on Saturday? Saturday you were staying at the bad hotel? Who booked?
So Saturday.
Again? Your buddy with the booking? What? Who booked the hotel?
My man just doesn't understand. He wasn't going to pay a dime a night, and neither was I, to stay for a football game. So I know Dave has a friend, his boy, Rolly Melanson, your boy, Rolly, the goalie. We called him up, and I said, Rolly, it's Ferrall. I'm friends with Dave Sherapan, Pittsburgh's finest. Can you give me some juice at the Willie Penn, the 5-star Willie Penn, which has a haunted pool, by the way. You go down in that pool, I mean to tell you, you will be creeped out. But, I stayed. He moved us there, and we went 5-star. And we moved on up like George Jefferson, right to the 5-star hotel on Grant Street in downtown Pittsburgh, right across the street from the U.S. Steel Building, right across the street from the PBG, right next to Eddie V's. We were eating Caribbean sea bass. Woo!
Did you stop at did you make a stop at the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl right by there? That's across the street from the PPG as well. I love that place.
I did
Super
not.
Bowl. That's SOUP. SOUPER as in soup. Get it? Super Bowl.
Yeah,
which is outstanding. Great bar.
Very popular spot. I did see it.
Love it there.
But I did not go in there. But I went to I went to Sully's in the Steel Building. Very expensive.
Yes.
Had steaks there. Got to the Penguin game a little late. Right when I got there, Crosby scored a goal.
You got him in. And I heard this one last thing from this trip. I thought I saw you tweet at some point during this trip that there was an encounter with Les Magnifiques. Was there an encounter with number 66? Did that actually happen? You saw your boy Mario on this trip?
I was standing at the baggage carousel, and I saw him, and I walked over. I snuck up on him, and I went, "What's up, old man?" And he goes, "Ferrall." And he was there with his wife, Natalie, and I talked to him for like 10 minutes, and I hadn't seen him since the night Eddie Olczyk was coaching the Penguins in Sunrise at a Panther-Penguin game, and he said, "Not now, Ferrall," as I walked up to say hi to him. "Not now, Ferrall." And Mario was like, "Oh, come on, Eddie, it's Ferrall, for Christ's sakes." And so I hadn't seen him in like 20 years, and it was great to see him, and we were both old and fat, and let's just be honest, but he has 5 rings, so it doesn't matter what you look like when you have 5 rings. And I ran into Roy Jones, another Steeler fan. The fighter Roy Jones standing next to me. I said that I'd worked for PBC and Bruce Bingo, and he goes, "I know who you are, Ferrall." And I go, "It's good to see you, champ." And the carousel booming with celebrities.
Yeah, it was booming with celebrities indeed. So what a huge trip to Pittsburgh over the weekend. You came back with 2 wins as well, which is good. I hope that at that restaurant afterwards you caught a little bit of the Bills beating the Chiefs. Afterwards,
I watched the game.
Or a little bit of Josh Allen beating the Chiefs afterwards.
I went out after. I went out after the game. Right after the game, I went out at like 8. I went to dinner at 8.
We have a lot to do today. The Jets fired Joe Douglas. What a shame. The Texans beat the Cowboys last night on Monday Night Football. We have Steelers-Browns on Thursday night to start week number 12, so the Steelers got to get right back at it. We have new college football playoff rankings tonight. We have NBA Cup games tonight, so you have to get right back into the swing of things here today on C2C.
I heard this morning, when I was getting ready to leave the Willie, and they had like ESPN on it. Steelers are on upset alert Thursday. Yeah. They just got done robbing out their 5th straight victim, and Lamar Jackson, but they're on upset alert in Cleveland at the dog pound against the 2-8 Browns. Okay, sure, anything you say.
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
You can catch Sports Rage weeknights at 10 on all of our outlets, and you can see Morency every day on Coast to Coast. So I was in the tap room, a famed old joint inside the Willie Penn and five-star place in Pittsburgh. And I said, I refuse to go out. This guy's just in my ear, just pain in my ass. He's like, come on, let's go. We got to go to dinner. I was like, shut the well up. I am not leaving until the Bills beat the Chiefs. And he's like, what's your problem? I go, you're my effing problem. I am not going anywhere. I'm going to punch you in the face. And I was like, shut up. Make a drink. We're not going anywhere. So we kept drinking and watching the Bills. Then I went to the tap room, and what do I see on the TV after you convinced me to grab the points? It was the Grey Cup. And I told him all about the stories you told me about the Grey Cup and the backup quarterback. I told him about Chad Kelly. And then, of course, the Args win the game.
Argos win outright. Not only that, they smoked them. It was 10-10 early at one point, and then next thing you knew, it was like 41-10 or whatever. Like, they absolutely destroyed them in the second half, and it was a great time. I'm glad to see that it was on TV in a bar in Pittsburgh. That's awesome. Listen, it was on the CBS Sports Network, right? So It was on, so it was good to see. It was a great time, Scott. You really got to get out to a Grey Cup sometime. Maybe when it's in Toronto. It's pretty close to New York. It's on the West Coast, in the Midwest again, or the Prairies, whatever, the next couple of years. But really was lit, Scott. Great atmosphere, and even more so than I explained to you, bro. Like, I'm sitting in the sports bar in the Red Card near BC Place before the football game. Nice old dude sitting there with his Ottawa football gear on. I said, hey, yo, dude. I said, how many Grey Cups you been to before? He goes, this is my 38th. I'm like,
holy shit.
His buddy next to him, he goes, I'm just kind of a rookie. I've only been to 29 of them. Like, everybody in the bar, they're from Ottawa. So I get to my seat, Scott, even in the stands, and I'm sitting there, and I got the second seat next to the aisle. So there's one guy on the aisle. And I look over, I go, hey, you're here alone, bro, or am I in the wrong seat? What's going on? I show my seats, and he goes, no, you're in the right row. I said, well, you're here by yourself. And he had like an accent from Texas. I said, well, you here from yourself? Where are you from? He goes, I'm from Dallas. I said, you came from Dallas? Are you, you got a relative on the team or something like that? You got a brother, a friend that plays on the teams? He goes, no, man, I got into the CFL a couple of years ago and always wanted to get out to a Grey Cup. He goes, great time of my life. I'll be here next year in Winnipeg. I'm telling you, man, it's just fun, Scott. You bet on the game, and you know, bro, and I know you went hard. I went to the Dodger game on a Friday night World Series and the NFL game on the Sunday. I'm in worse shape now, Scott, after one Grey Cup in my own hometown than I was after the trip.
Really?
Like I'm on day 2 right now, and I'm sort of like, yeah, okay, I'm a little bit better. I'm a little bit better.
Listen,
we went hard on Sunday.
I just got home an hour ago. I got stranded in Pittsburgh till this morning. I couldn't get a flight. My flight got canceled. I got the runaround going there, coming back. I just got home. I was cussing this dude out this morning. I go, if this plane doesn't take off, I'm going to beat your ass. I go, I got to get home. So I had the same kind of nightmare, but the difference was same thing. It was Saturday. I went to the Penguin game. 5-star restaurant, 60 cocktails. Sunday, 100 cocktails, a 5-star tap room, watching the Grey Cup. And then yesterday, I'm like, what are we going to do in Pittsburgh all day? Drink and watch sports.
So I would have been in recovery mode. I like having that extra day when I go on trips for the hotel the next day. Like, I'll even do the show the next day from the hotel. Yeah. But that feeling, Scott, I'm not down with it. And sometimes it has to be done. We got tight schedules. It is what it is. But there's nothing worse, bro, than that. Like, you know, I just did it. I got to be at the airport at 7:30 a.m. after the game. I'm on the air in a couple hours. I just hate that whole, you know, we're too old for it. But still got to have fun in our lives. But I got to tell you, Scott, after this weekend, it was one of those. I remember I told someone on Sunday night, I said, I'm not going to any more games for like months. I said, I'm not getting on a plane. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. Because people are like, hey, you got to come here. And there's a game. You go, what are you doing? You going to the Bills? You going to there? You going to... I'm like, I ain't doing nothing, bro. I said, I'm gonna need a month to recover from this. But you know what it's like. After a couple of days, you're always like, man, maybe I'll go to that game. You know, maybe I'll do this. I'm going to go see the Boston Bruins and the Vancouver Canucks. But that's only December 14th. So I got a couple of weeks to recover.
So, yeah, I got home. And then the guy says, I'll come over Thursday to get the money, to divvy up the money, the flights, the hotels, and everything that we split up. And because he came home today and he looked at me. I said, don't even ask me for money right now, bro. Just leave. Get in your car and leave. I don't like you. I'm going to punch you in the face. And just come Thursday and we'll do it. So I know exactly how you feel. And now the next one I'm going to is the last game of the season, January 5th against Joey Silk in the Steel
City. Well, some
City.
Playoff games in your future in Pittsburgh too. They're going to the playoffs. Yeah, they're going to be hosting. They're going to be hosting playoff games, and we're to the point now where it was kind of comical, actually, in hindsight. But I was right there with you, Scott. I told everybody, I'm on the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. Yeah, I've been saying it all year. I think the Ravens are overrated. When the Ravens can smoke. You know, when they're on, they're really great. Lamar's going to put up his numbers. He's going to do his thing. But they lose games, Scott. Harbaugh does strange things in close games. They came into this weekend with 3 losses. People always act like Baltimore undefeated. You always hear, oh, you got KC and Baltimore and in Buffalo. It's like, all right, they seem to lose for a team that's like this dominant team. And Pittsburgh are the dominant team right now. No one's really talking. Like, people didn't believe in Pittsburgh. Now they still don't really believe in that they're like Super Bowl good. And I think they are. Like if the Buffalo Bills play the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, like let's say in a playoff game, the game's a toss-up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not like game. It's not like I can say, oh, the Bills would beat them easily, or oh, the Steelers will beat them easy. No, the game's a toss-up. Point blank. One of the quarterbacks has won a Super Bowl before. One of them hasn't, right? One of the coaches won a Super Bowl before. Like, Steelers are badass. They're a dangerous team right now.
Yeah, and listen, I think it would be a great game. I think they're both really good teams. I enjoyed the Bills win even more so than the Steelers win. The Steelers, Boswell kicked 6 field goals in the game. That's how they won the game, and they stopped Jackson on 4th down. The Bills game was a lot better. Watching Josh do his thing, I'd love to see that matchup in the playoffs.
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you. Pinching your own cheek? Because I was looking down and did not know we were getting...
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
So you run into a lot of SportsGrid fans in at like the Grey Cup, and you meet all kinds of fans. I just had people in the middle of this show watching SportsGrid at a bar in Florida. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and they were hitting it hard. And there I was ranting and raving about the Steelers win, and that I had run into Mario Lemieux when I was there. I saw him at the baggage claim, and I hadn't seen him in 20 years. And I was really good friends with Mario through the years, from the day he got drafted until his fifth ring. And then I hadn't seen him in a long time. And so fans are watching right now. They love the SportsGrid everywhere. That's awesome. And so it's true. You meet all these fans everywhere, and it blows your mind a little bit.
A lot of, I was just surprised where, right? I know, people are watching us. And when I'm in Las Vegas and, in LA, et cetera, when I'm in different cities, I get it a lot. But, like I said, you're at the Grey Cup, you're in the bathroom and stuff. You get people, hey, SportsGrid, right? And it's very, very cool. Listen, SportsGrid are on a lot of smart TVs. I just personally got a new, Philips Roku TV and channel 270 SportsGrid, right? So I was clicking around, boom, there we were, looking pretty good too, actually. So, our distribution is great. There's people out there. It's great to meet them. That's another thing, too. I like to get out there and meet the people, right, that actually watch the shows. And
Sure.
I like to get to games. I'd go to more games if I wasn't on the air all the time, but it's, I don't mind. It is what it is. But that's how we end up, Scott, in these situations that you and I do, where we got to take planes and, all this stuff because you got to get back quickly. And it makes the trips a little bit harder. But it's great getting out there and meeting the people. Who knows, down the road, we'll see what happens with the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. As looks like we're going to have a really, really, really exciting run. Like I said, I haven't been to a Vancouver Canuck game yet this year. They play on weird nights. It's good for them. They play a lot of home games on Friday nights. Bad for me, right? They used to, normally they play, Saturday night's a traditional night, but they play a lot of games on Fridays and Sundays and stuff, which they like for their schedule, but I don't. I can't go on those days because of football and sports rage, right? Saturday night games I can go. So finally in December, they got a bunch of Saturday night games. They're playing the Bruins on a Saturday night, December 14th. That'll be badass. Boston, Vancouver. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I went to these games in the Penguin game at PPG and the Steeler game, and I get the same thing. The fans, I'm walking in to the stadium. I got people screaming Ferrall. I take pictures of people. Meanwhile, I'm intoxicated. I've already had 10 doubles.
For me, Scott's always the same thing. Like, people are casual. Like, they're like, we've known each other. Like, they don't even introduce themselves. Hey, Morency, who should I take in the second half?
Right.
Like, I'm walking down, and it's got, hey, Morency, who you on tonight, the Sunday night? You're on the Chargers. Like, they know my picks. I knew you were on this, but you're on the Chargers, right? I'm like, yeah, Chargers. And then a lot of the game, too. You got to love it, Scott. I was loving it, too. I was walking down the concourse, and people were like, hey, Morency, I tailed your Argo pick. Great pick. Argos. Everyone knew I was on the Argos in the stadium.
So I was at a restaurant. I was at a 5-star restaurant on Saturday night before the hockey game, and I had to go, and I went into the stall in the 5-star restaurant, and I heard some guy at the urinal yell, that's Ferrall in there dropping a yam in the stall. Buddy. And I heard him. I was sitting in the stall. I went,
no privacy in this world at all.
No.
You're getting TMZ'd. You're getting TMZ'd going to the bathroom.
I got to tell you, the Penguins have no talent. They really have no talent. It's Crosby, Malkin, and Letang was out, and they have nothing. They don't have
They're playing the
goaltending.
Lightning tonight.
No talent. They have the Lightning tonight. They'll lose to the Lightning. Any good team at all goes in there and beats them. They beat the Sharks. They were up 3-1, and they blew the lead, and the Sharks outplayed them the entire second and third, and they beat them in the shootout. And they couldn't score in the overtime. And that team that I watched, I was sitting next to some guy and his buddies. They were old guys in their 70s. And I went, this reminds me of the Penguins of the 80s. They suck. They lose every night. I mean, they have no talent. Before they got Lemieux, they would lose to the Islanders every time they played them. You know, they were awful. And they're awful again. They really are. They're not a playoff team.
No, they're not. But at least they won the game that you saw. But no. They're spinning their wheels. I'm surprised Crosby, I guess he just doesn't want to play anywhere else, right? I guess he figures at this point we'll ride it out. Plus, he's got the Olympics coming up, so there's a chance for some glory and big-time games. I know we're up against it. We got a triple header tonight here. Give me Miami, Ohio, Scott, to beat Northern Illinois. They actually kind of own these guys. Big game tonight. Give me Miami, Ohio, when you over 43.
All right, Morency, have a good night.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Fortunately, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was
that's what your
looking down
grandma
and did
does,
not
right?
know we were getting.
Oh, Johnny, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Mike DeCourcy, the esteemed columnist at the Sporting News, and of course you see him on Fox Sports and Big Ten Network with College Rack. I saw him on Sunday at the place the Steelers play, and I have to tell you, it was disturbing. I was, just minding my own business, and then I look over and went, is that Mike DeCourcy? And he had a snake of about 15 beers in his hand, and he was cheering. He had on a Steeler hat. He had a terrible towel. Poorest behavior. I was trying to maintain a professional decor and decorum the entire time I was there. But wait a minute. Maybe it was me with 15 drinks stacked and a hat on and a terrible towel. I don't remember much from Sunday, although I do remember the final score, Mike, 18-16 Steelers. That's 9-1 in the last 10 against the Ravens, or is it 8 of 9? I mean, I can't keep track of all the ass whoopings that they've given the overrated Baltimore Ravens.
I believe it's 8 of 9, but you're doing a pretty good job of keeping track. You're in the ballpark. They did an amazing job on Lamar Jackson, and it's not anything new for them. And one of the compelling things to me about the Steelers' success against Lamar Jackson, it's a fairly small sample size. They've won 4 games out of 5 against him. So it's a fairly small sample size, but it is 4 out of 5, and that's 80% success rate when no one else in the league, save for Kansas City, which has done the same 4 out of 5, and Oakland, which has done 2 out of 3. No one else has a winning record against him. And it's amazing to me that no one else seems to be able to copy what the Steelers have done. Because it's not just the Steelers have gone out and put up 40 and Lamar scored 38. It's not like that. The Steelers have not scored in those games by and large. Like you said, Sunday was only 18 points the Steelers put up, 6 field goals, and it was still a winning score. Last year, the winning score at Acrisure was 17 points, and the Ravens only got 10. And it's not just that they are more familiar with Lamar Jackson than the rest of the world. They are. But that's not the whole ingredient, because Cincinnati has played him a dozen times, Scott, and they've only won twice. So it's not just that they see him more often. Cleveland has done a good job on occasion with teams that haven't been great. I think they're around 3-6 or something like that. But it's a Steeler formula that's been successful. And no one else seems to be able to replicate it, because he gets in against everybody else, and he's passing for 300 plus and rushing for close to 100.
So were you you were doing your column, and did you go to the press box to cover the game, or did you go as a fan?
No, I went with a friend. I sat in one of the 500 sections on the 48-yard line and enjoyed the day. The weather was spectacular. It's what NFL football should be. That tremendous autumn weather. And I was really impressed by what the Steelers were able to do in that circumstance. Even though they allowed the Ravens to come back and nearly tie them, they did a phenomenal job as well, very strategically calling the timeout just as Baltimore was getting ready to snap the ball. I will say, Scott, that I have advocated for years for no defensive team being allowed to call a timeout within the final 5 seconds of a play clock. I've always advocated for that, because I think it's kind of nonsense that the guy goes through the kicking motion because it's called when the ball is snapped. Right. But if you're not going to change the rule, the Steelers did a great job of taking advantage of that, because the Ravens turned the page from their original play call to their secondary play call, and the Steelers defended that mercilessly is the best way to put it, because Nate Herbig went in and blew up 2 blockers, and then you had Cam Hayward surging into the backfield and Joey Porter coming up to make the tackle.
What's your thought on the seen in Pittsburgh with sports. I went to PPG Saturday night, and the Penguins won a shootout. They're awful, but they won the game against the Sharks. They blew a lead. But the one thing I noticed was they're still selling out every game at PPG, and the team's not even worth they're not worth watching. They're a bad team like they were in the 80s. But the fans go to every game. It's a scene down there. And the Steelers atmosphere around that stadium, those tailgates and the throng of people walking into that stadium is like nothing I've ever seen. It is an unbelievable fan experience and fan base in Pittsburgh. Would you agree with all that?
I do. I think that you throw in the Pirates, too, for as bad as they've been over the last 3 decades, and still to get decent crowds at PNC Park. It's a great place to watch a game for anybody who's ever been there. It's the perfect place for visiting fans to come for a great weekend, to see their team in the best ballpark in the majors and enjoy the downtown Pittsburgh life. And I think that's contributed to the attendance, but a lot. It's mostly Pirates fans, and they still do it. One thing I came away from over the last 10 days or so, Scott, regards to the Penguins situation, is this idea that they missed their opportunity to tear it down and build it back up. That's all nonsense. And all you have to do, you don't have to look any further than the top of the division in the Capitals. The Capitals still have all their old guys. Carlson, they still have Ovi. They've got Tom Wilson. They've even got players that are older that are on injured reserve and not contributing. They didn't get younger in Washington. They just didn't bring in a lot of bad players. It's really that simple. You don't have to strip it to the bolts in order to continue rebuilding on the fly. The Penguins just did a horrible job of it. And it's not just the previous general manager. It's the one who's currently in place, who signed Carlson, who extended a failing goaltender. They've made a lot of mistakes, and it's not about the fact that they're paying Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin below market rates to stay. It's about what they've done around those guys, and what they've done around those guys, Scott, is fail.
They have no talent at all, none whatsoever. They have Carlson, Malkin, Crosby, and Letang wasn't playing on Saturday. And I was watching, and I sat there, and I said to the people around me, I said, they literally have no one. I mean, they have no one with any talent whatsoever on the team. I mean, I guess I'll give you Rust, and Connor looks like he has potential to be a player, but he hasn't been around long enough to get that credit from me. I just think they look terrible. They blew a lead, as I mentioned, and they somehow found a way to win, but they don't win that often. They're an easy pushover. In fact, Friday night, I said they would lose by 3 goals in Columbus. Sure enough, they lost by 4. I mean, they're just not a good team.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, bringing in Carlson, paying him $11.5 million, and then seeing the efforts he puts out there. Is he skilled? We know he's skilled. You don't score as many points in the NHL as he has without being super skilled. But he's a turnstile on defense, and it's been, you saw that in multiple games this season where he just did not put in the appropriate effort defensively. And every now and then he'll contribute offensively, but he's not contributing at the rate he once did. And so you don't make up for the goals that you're giving up if you're contributing offensively at a much lower rate than you used to. They've made a series of terrible decisions. And it wasn't the decision to keep Letang, Malkin, and Crosby was not one of the terrible decisions. It was everything they did around it. My wife would say it started with letting Marc-Andre Fleury go. She loves Marc-Andre. But I think it's really escalated probably since 2020 or 2021. Once Rutherford left the GM job, that's been an absolute mess.
I saw Mario at the airport, and I talked to him for like 10 minutes. I hadn't seen him in 20 years. I bumped into him at the baggage claim area where he was getting, mobbed by people for pictures. But I've known him since he was drafted, and I was always friends with him when I covered the Penguins on a daily basis. And it was fun to see him. He was with his wife, and we were both a lot older and fatter. And it made my day to see him. I got to tell you.
And he went home telling stories about how he saw Scott Ferrall and he was being mobbed by people.
Come on.
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
My grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek. As I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High. What a shame that the Jets are having more problems with their franchise and front office and players, and just another humiliating defeat at the hands of the Colts, who, of course, the Jets were favored over. The Jets are favored every week as they continue to rack up losses. And you talk about stupid people. I mean, who are these people putting out these odds on the Jets every week that they're favored in all these games that they don't win? I mean, it is unbelievable to me. They are awful. They are, and you say it all the time, the Jets are going to jet, and they stink. They're on the lower end of the totem pole, and let's just get real here. The Bills and my Steelers, we're top shelf status. And I got to tell you, I've already said on this show, I got the Steelers over the Ravens in the playoffs and everything else. I told you I think the Steelers are going to the Super Bowl. And obviously I could be wrong, but you cannot deny that your team and my team have everything they need. Everything, down to special teams and literally coaching staffs to get to a Super Bowl. It's not the Ravens. It's not the Bengals who, ESPN keeps trying to sell the Bengals to everybody as they lose every night. Couldn't close a game if the door was right in front of them. They lose everything. Did they not come roaring back in that game Sunday night and still lose? I mean, they suck. They're awful. And the Bills and Steelers do not suck. And the Chiefs do not suck. And they got another douse of the Bills up in the below in the regular season. The Bills' problem is they can't beat that same said team in the playoffs.
That is what it all comes down to at the end of the day. And look, I think that, and we're going to do some odds later on this, I think the Steelers should be in that conversation, obviously. It should be Chiefs, Bills, Steelers with the Ravens kind of thing. But the Ravens now, they are a dominant regular season team. They could be a bit of a bully team sometimes, but they have a few hurdles that they still have to climb over. I know everybody loves Lamar and loves Harbaugh. They can't beat the Steelers. And, Lamar doesn't come up, he's lost a lot of playoff games. Those are two things that they have to climb over before you could put them, ahead of these other teams. They got to go and get it done. And, man, you saw it firsthand and you've talked about it already. They got big problems with Tomlin's defense. Big problems. Lamar's got big problems with the Steelers. He can't get it done against them. It's just that simple. He can't get it done.
Listen, this game, they kicked 6 field goals, and you would have thought they won by 30 with that defense of theirs. Yeah. They are everywhere. Watt's making plays. Hayward's making plays. Herbig's making plays. Porter's making plays. Fitzpatrick's making plays. And now they got everybody going. Washington, Freiermuth, Pickens, Williams, Najee, Wilson. I mean, the Steelers are loaded. They are loaded. Special teams loaded. Kicking game loaded. Running back kicks loaded. That's just all there is to it, whether you like me or not. That's all there is to it.
And as we started with this, obviously it was with the Jets, who
but they don't matter. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about more of the same shack that we do every week on this show, wasting our time talking about the crappy Jets. They fired Joe Douglas. Right. This is the same guy that drafted. They said he had the greatest 2 drafts in the history of the NFL. And they had the greatest defense in the NFL. And the same guy that got Aaron Rodgers. And you know what? Sometimes in life, the guy that gets it all still gets it in the end, because he brought everyone in. They didn't win. All they do is lose. So he got fired. That's a fast spin, a 60-second spin on what's wrong with the Jets. Everything Joe Douglas did that everybody thought was so fantastic ended up in quicksand. Everything, including Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had better think twice about coming back next year, because I'm telling you, it's tarnished legacy time if he does. Tarnished legacy if he comes back. He's going to be an old man, terrible quarterback. He's going to be Joe Flacco. That's it.
Douglas's win-loss record as the GM ranks 105th out of 107 football executives since 1977 to spend at least 5 years with an organization.
Oh, he did a great job.
Did a great job. So his contract was set to expire anyway. They didn't even want to wait the last 7 games. They just got him out the door right now. So God bless and good luck to Joe Douglas there as he's done with the New York Jets. Screw him indeed. Texans beat the Cowboys last night 34-10 to finish off week number 11. Not the best game that was on the card this weekend, that's for sure. In fact, it was another rough night for Cooper Rush, who, of course, is in for an injured Dak Prescott. Now,
Wasn't 3 touchdowns. Win a bunch of games because he was 5-1 as a starter, and he was 5-1. Win a bunch of games and get him back into the playoffs. They are worse now than ever.
He's now 5-3 as the Cowboys starter with Dak out since they threw the 5-1 around a couple of weeks ago. This was a bad one for him last night. The Cowboys were kind of hanging around in this game. And then they weren't after this play. Defensive touchdown, Westwood One Sports.
Rush in the gun. Through the air, 22 of 40. Drops back. Hit from behind. Ball jarred free. But then it was picked up. And then it was knocked free again by Petrie. And then picked up on the play by Barnett. He'll run from the 20 to the 10 to the 5. Houston has scored on a fumble recovery touchdown by Derek Barnett. Multiple hits. Ball jarred free. Texans have taken a 4th quarter lead, 26-10.
So I went to a fancy restaurant last night, and I gave up on the game. I watched like the first half, and I saw Mixon have 2 touchdown runs, right? And I was like, so this morning I'm in the hotel, and I did my Ferrall Unplugged thing I do with all the scores and what's happening and what's going to happen today. And I said he had a couple tutties. He had 3 tutties. That game was so awful, I didn't even care that he had another touchdown. I didn't watch it. I'm watching the game live, and my buddy's like, watch this play. Watch this play. And I said to him, I was doing something else on my phone, and I said, how many times I got to tell you, bro, I don't like the Texans or the Cowboys. I don't give a rat's ass about any play in this stupid game.
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
I got to tell you, there is one thing I do enjoy at some level, and it's watching the Cowboys suck. I love watching them lose. I'm not really interested in watching their games. I never have been. I've never liked them. I grew up in Pittsburgh watching the Steelers beat them in Super Bowls and Roger Staubach. I just did a special Veterans Day show on Roger Staubach, and they asked me, what was the one thing you would say about Roger Staubach if you were to sum it all up? And I said, he never beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl. And they cut that right to the edit floor. That one got chopped right off. They chopped that one right off. No, they chopped that one off. I thought it was a great line. But I enjoy watching them lose. And I enjoy even more watching Mike McCarthy and Jerry Jones try to explain away their problems.
Yeah, if you're a Cowboy hater, this is your kind of year. They're 3-7 now, and they are going to have to somehow get their way through these last these last 7 games, because it's only going to get worse. Here's McCarthy after the game last night. I don't know what you guys want me to do. I mean, half my team's hurt. I guess I could have put Trey Lance in, but who the hell really wants to see him? Here's Mike McCarthy.
No, I'm playing who we have to win the game. I mean, that's just everyone who's healthy. We had a long week of practice, but we had a number of guys that didn't make it. So these guys practice. We're playing the best players to win the game. So
they have no player.
I think the one thing I should have did at the end, and I just I didn't do it, was put Trey in there. I could have gotten him a series.
Well,
that's one thing that
we've already
I
seen
would
him
second guess myself on. But other than that, I mean, we got guys going down. There's a number of guys went down in the game, and you just got to keep playing.
Oh my God, how bad must Trey Lance be in practice that he can't play over that guy you watched last night at Cooper Rush? How bad does Lance look that he can't play over Cooper Rush? I mean, why is he even on the team then? If he can't play over Cooper Rush, why is he on the team? Makes no sense.
And how about the guy saying, I guess the one mistake I made is I didn't put him in. Like I said, the Monday reactions are just, and Sunday are just so fabulous. Listening to this, you know what? He knows he's getting chopped.
He's getting chopped. And
he knows that there's nothing he can do. He's like saying, we suck.
Right. And Jerry, they're asking, has he lost the team? I don't think Jerry cares. Jerry's going to wait till the end of the year. And look, we've already had this talk a billion times. Until Jerry gets out of the way and even lets his son run the team and have somebody more. He's just not a general manager.
Jerry will run the Cowboys from beyond the grave. I think it's
very possible.
I think when he dies, he's going to leave in his will all of the things that he wants to have done to the Cowboys on a yearly basis for 50 years moving forward, that his son has to follow or he'll get none of his inheritance.
You get something extremely rare this week with the Dallas Cowboys, something that hasn't happened in 17 years.
What's that?
You are going to get this week. It has been 17 years since the Washington football team, then they were the Redskins, then the football team, now the Commanders, has been favored by more than 3.5 points against Dallas. Well, you get it this week. They're 10.5-point favorites against Dallas at the dump.
That's how bad they are.
Landover. That's how bad they are. 10.5.
I mean, they lost by 24 last night, and I got to tell you, I do not buy all of this Houston Texans stuff. I know they're in first place. I do not buy that they're this great team that everybody's so afraid of. I think they have the same problems that, frankly, that Cincinnati has in closing games. Now, they didn't have that problem last night because they played the Cowgirls, and they didn't have to worry about it. When you play the Cowgirls, listen, the only thing worth watching on the Dallas Cowgirls is the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. That's the only reason to watch their games or to go to their games, is to fall in love with Cowboy cheerleaders. I mean it. I'm not even kidding. Because I want to sleep with all of them at the same time.
Yeah, I don't. That's who doesn't. I mean, at the end of the day, really. I think the Texans are not on that same level as these other teams. I think the Texans are an okay team that's also in a really bad division. I mean, they're lucky to play
better than Denver,
twice,
if you ask me.
Tennessee and Indy. They're just in a really bad division. They're going to win their division, but they're not at the Chiefs.
How unfortunate.
And I know they beat the Bills by 1, but they're not on the level of those other teams. I don't believe. Together, both Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the 2 big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, it's going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid, Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Quarterly, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts, so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.